I have a podcast. It's known as the Black Man Answers Cosmo Podcast. It's awesome and it's on iTunes and SoundCloud. So go check it out, guys. I'll link in the description as always. Thanks. I've had a friend or two confront me when I started doing this show and say,
"Man, how can you like anime? It's so perverted."
And I'm like, it's not perverted. They go, he just grabbed that girl's boobs. And they're talking about the scene in the Seven Deadly Sins when we first meet our main character and he meets Elizabeth and he just kind of gropes her. And I'm like, oh no, it's just comedy. It's fine. It's fan service. It's funny.
That's not funny. That's assault.
And it went on like that. I just kind of had a long conversation trying to defend anime and how him groping her was an assault and how that's just kind of, like one of the tropes of anime. And I had a hard time actually defending this though. And so I had to go and do some digging and found out that a lot of that stuff is just what the Japanese find funny and what culturally they find acceptable to talk about or discuss or bring up in conversation. And so to them it's not as taboo. It's the same thing as how they can show boobs on British TV in the middle of the day and no one flips out because culturally that's okay for them. But in America, it's not. And so I think they also give it a little bit of a pass in Japan because it's animated. And so it's not looked at as such a graphic institution as something happened in real life. And so I still have a hard time though with it because I still have my American mindset where, yeah, I guess if I did that in real life or if I was promoting that in real life, I'd be looked at as kind of a bad person. And so I want to pose to you guys the question of, is it okay for anime to be perverted? Is fan service a bad thing? I just have a hard time making a choice because I see that it's comedy. I see that it's animated. I see that it's not real. I see that it's an escape. I see that it is, again, a cultural thing that maybe I don't necessarily understand in a way that I should. And maybe, some things don't translate well. That's why a lot of anime get heavily edited in the 80s because they were like, oh man, this is not okay in America. Like when Dragon Ball first started, super perverted. Super perverted. Like we saw freaking Bulma's butt and no one batted an eye in Japan, but in America we're like, oh Lord, oh no, that ain't okay. And yet some of us who are anime fans are like, oh, that's hilarious. Is it okay for anime to be perverted? And really at the end of the day, do you think it affects us here in America in a negative way if we grew up with it? Let's talk about it down below, and I'll see you guys next week for another anime debate. And let me know what you want to see me debate next. It could be a topic, it could be a show, it could be 2 shows. Just let me know. Later, guys.